Okay, good morning everyone. In the interest of time, we're just going to get going. We only have about 4 of you on the call, but just so you know, we're going to actually record this and send it out for future reference and for the sites that couldn't be on the call. So we do have everybody on mute, so if you have any questions, you can go ahead and type them in the question box. After each section, I will pause and take any questions on that section, so there will be designated time for that. So thank you for being here today. We're going to review the evaluation process. As you know, you either signed up or have been assigned to the UCI evaluation study of the STEM sites. If you're at Think Together, the reason you are involved in the study is because you are a Tier 3 site. So we designated Tier 3 sites as the ones with most experience and the ones that could handle doing the evaluation. If you're a non-Think Together site, it just means that you signed up and you wanted to be a part of the study, which is great. So we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to review the process. There's nothing too difficult. It's just going to seem like a lot of details, so that's why I wanted to be sure to review it. Roy and I will be available throughout the whole process to help you guys along the way, and I'm going to kind of serve as the liaison between OC STEM and UC Irvine. So we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so just to give you guys an overview, the main research purpose behind this study is just to determine the effects of the STEM activities that you're doing after school. Since it is the end of the year, it's going to serve more as a baseline or exploratory data for them. They will continue it next year, and if you have the same kids in the program, it will be linked through that so we can track their answers along the whole way. But there's 4 areas that all the surveys that we'll go over are going to touch upon. The first one is skill development. That's basically just the students' work habits and how they feel about their skills in the different subject areas that they're learning in. And then positive behavior, so that's pretty much just how they feel socially with their peers, their relationships, and whether there's any reductions in misconduct, meaning like do they feel safe and secure, and so that has led to them acting better both at home and at school. Their attitudes and beliefs, that's pretty much just their science interest. Are they interested in the subject? Do they see themselves having a career that involves science? And what their overall views are for the future and how it relates to the STEM activities. And then their overall experience. So did they enjoy the program and did they build proper relationships and functional relationships with staff? Did they find value in the activities, and how were their relationships with the peers? So this is kind of the big buckets that the study is setting out to measure. So the way it's going to be measured, and this is where your involvement is crucial, is through online student surveys. There's also going to be a staff survey, which every site coordinator is required to take for their site. And then there's also what's called activity documentation forms. So the activity documentation forms are actually observations and quick little notes about the STEM activities that are going on that you'll then mail to UCI. So the structure of this presentation, I'm going to go through each of these one by one, show you the instructions, and actually walk you through a little bit of the online tool, and then I'll stop after we go review student surveys, take any questions, and the same thing for the staff and the documentation forms. Any questions before I begin? Again, you can just use the chat box if you have anything. Give it 10 more seconds. Okay. Okay, so the student surveys. These are the things you're going to need. And you guys, I want to let you know too that you're going to receive an evaluation packet at your site. It's going to include all of these instructions in hard copy forms as well as your documentation forms. So everything I'm reviewing today, don't feel like you have to take copious notes. You are going to get it in hard copy form. We just wanted to review it and take any questions. So these are the things you're going to need in order to do this evaluation at your site. The first and most important is computer labs with working internet. If you do not have computer labs at your school or access to, we strongly advise talking to an administrator and getting access to it for a day or two within the program to do this. Otherwise, you'll have to set up individual computer stations and rotate kids through, but it's a lot easier to manage and gets done a lot quicker if you have access to a computer lab. And make sure the internet's working before bringing all those kids in there. So how this is a little bit different from surveys you might do online either for Think Together or for the other programs is each student is actually going to have a code assigned to them. So it's kind of a unique ID that's set up linked directly to the survey. You're going to be receiving a list from Roy for your site in particular. So it's a list of all the students that are enrolled in your program and then a survey code for each of those. So they will then be entering those codes. So as they take surveys throughout the rest of the evaluation, they're going to be entering the same code. So we'll keep record of that, and you'll be receiving that in email in a spreadsheet for each of your students. And then you're going to get instructions for all this, like I mentioned, and that'll be in your packet. So everything I'm going to talk about is going to be a broad overview, and then you'll have all the detailed instructions in hard copy format. We'll also send those electronically so you have them on your computer. So let's just walk through real quick the student surveys. I'm going to get out of here. So this is the instruction sheet that you're going to get at your site. As you can tell, there's a lot of details on it. You basically just need to go to this website right here, the afterschooloutcomes.org/STEM, and there's going to be all these documents, and it's going to give you a list right here when you get your instructions on how to do it. So the main things you need to do is you need to test the computers. So you need to check, a few days beforehand whether the computers are working, the internet's working, if there's any tech issues that you have to address. You don't want to bring in 30 students and then not have the internet working. So like I said, the site coordinators will receive the list of student survey codes. And what you basically do, what we've done in the past is we've had coordinators go in, turn on all the computers, and then actually do a favorites link on the internet to go directly to this website, so that when it's time to set up, you can just click on that link on all of the computers and it'll be ready to go. So as you see, it says to go to their website, so I'm going to pull that up right now so you guys can see what it looks like. If it will. So that link that they give you will take you right here. This is After School Outcome Measures Online Toolbox, and it'll take you directly to the STEM. Like I mentioned, these are all of the instruction documents and any information you might need. You'll see that there's a sample letter to your principal. You're also going to receive a hard copy of that. That's basically just an informational letter explaining the study to the principal and letting them know that we have permission to be doing this through UC Irvine. Instructions for the student survey. If you have a lot of students in your program that are English language learners or special needs, there is a link for special instructions for them, and that's basically just providing more detail of how to walk them through it. And then there's instructions for the staff survey, which we're going to go over in a little bit. But right here is what we're going to click on. So it's the power of discovery, and you'll see it's right under the survey links. So when you click on that, you'll see that there's student survey and staff survey. So right now I'll just show you how they're going to set up the student survey. When you click on this, this is actually the link that you want up on the page for the students. So you're going to go to the After School Outcomes Measures toolbox, and then you're going to click on the student survey, just how I got there. And this is what should be on the first screen when students come in. So when they come in, it'll say here, and it's going to say you're going to need a survey code. It's up to you how you want to manage this process. You can either have someone up in front of the classroom explaining it and going one by one, or you can have someone walking around and getting each individual student started as you rotate them in. You have to keep in mind that you have to give them their survey code. So I've seen it done two different ways. You can have little cards made in advance or little strips of paper with the student name and their code, so that when they walk in, you can just hand them that and they can get going. Or you can filter them all in and have a program leader or a coordinator or a volunteer going seat by seat and either entering the code or giving the students the code that they have to enter. So this will be that first screen that students see. You instruct them to click Next, whether that be from the front of the room or not. They're going to enter their code number here and click Next. I don't have a student code number to use right now, but once they hit Next, they're going to be taken to a directions page. In your instructions, it's going to say to just walk through those instructions with them. From that point on, after the instructions, the students can do it on their own. But you need to be available to answer any questions. And there's actually a section in your instructions which you'll see of frequently asked questions and how to respond to them. It's going to be set up pretty much like surveys you've probably done before, where there'll be a question and then a scale that the student chooses. It's designed to be done in about 10 minutes. In my experience, it takes about 20 and maybe 25 to 30 from start to finish, meaning getting the kids in the door and out the door. So just plan for that when you decide which day you're going to be doing it. Okay, any questions on the student survey? Here we go. Let's see here. How do I do that? Okay, you have all the visuals. Okay, does the picture stay broken up, or does it become clear after a few minutes? Is anyone else having problems seeing the screen? If you're having a problem, go ahead and throw something in the chat box so we can know how many people. It might just be transition, because it did actually do that a little bit for me, but then my screen always cleared up. So is Amanda the only one having this issue? Okay, so would it help if I went back to the website and wait for it to be clear to show you guys? Anyone other than Amanda having this issue? Amanda, it might be on your end. Okay, I'll give it 10 more seconds to see if anyone else is having this problem. Amanda, this is going to be recorded, so we can also send you this, and it'll be clear because it'll be recorded from my screen. Okay, so just bear with us. Thanks, Amanda. You can get rid of that. Okay, so no questions about the student survey process. You're going to keep reading when you get your instructions that it's only going to take 10 to 15. From experience, it's going to take 20 to 30 getting the kids in there and getting them settled. We all know how that goes with classroom management. So just allow for that when you're doing your planning. Okay, so let's move on. I'm going to move on to the staff survey since no one had any questions. Can you still see if there's... Okay, let me just go through here real quick. Okay, so staff survey, it's a very similar process. You have to have a computer with working internet. We're just asking that every site coordinator who's involved in the study take the staff survey. So I don't care what computer you take it from or how you get there. You just need to have working internet. The SCs or the site coordinators at your sites are also going to have a survey code that's designated to them. That's going to be on the list that we send you along with your student codes. So the site coordinator survey code will be at the top next to their name, and then you'll have a full list of the student survey codes. So that's how you access the survey. So just like before, those instructions for the staff survey are going to be included in your packet. I'll just show you those real quickly. It's a very similar process. You can see it looks very similar. They provide step-by-step instructions. So you can either go to the website like I did and click on the Power of STEM, or they provide you the direct link. So when we send you these electronically, you can even highlight this link, copy it, and put it in your web browser. Whatever you guys feel like doing is fine by me. So I'm going to show you guys the staff survey, just how it's set up. So same thing. You're going to have a set of directions. You'll have a bar. You do have to take it in one sitting. You can't save it and go back, so just keep in mind when you do that. You're going to enter your code, and you're going to go ahead and start. And it's basically just going to ask your perception of how students are responding to things, how well programs going. Very similar questions, but from a staff management perspective. This isn't a test or anything you guys need to stress about. It really is just kind of exploratory in nature, and be honest about your interpretations of the activities and how they've gone. Okay, so the links that you guys are going to be provided in all of your instructions are going to take you to this main one. So just to review again, these are all instructions and information. Clicking on this one will take you to the 2 survey links. Okay. Any questions on staff surveys? Okay, so those 2 things I feel you guys have experience in doing. It shouldn't be too difficult. It's mainly just allowing that time. Something that's going to take a little bit more time is these observation forms. How can I get to make it full screen? I can't see it down here. There we go. Okay, so these activity documentation forms, this is pretty much just a research observation that you'll be doing of activities. You'll get these in hard copy form. I believe there's, I don't know, 20 or 30 for each site. What we're going to ask is that these be done once a week starting next week. And all it is when the STEM activity is going on in a classroom, you have either the program leader or the site coordinator who's supervising document that activity. So I'm going to show you the form first. Here is the form. So it looks more daunting than it actually is. It's just going to be about you taking the time to document the activities. I think the best way to do it is maybe by grade. If you guys have activities that are going on by grade, you could do a 3rd grade observation here, do in the same day, do the 4th grade observation, and so on. So you're going to just go ahead and put the date, the name of the activity, the subject, the number of students in that classroom, the grade level, and then just answer these questions of how long it was, how do you feel that it went, And you can be honest. If the activity was too hard, go ahead and document that, and the engagement level of the students. So this is just your observation of your students. The biggest thing about this too, you guys, is that you have to put your staff code up in this corner. So it's kind of like putting your name on the paper. There should be a line and then, you know, a place for your survey code. That was an oversight on their end. So just make sure that you document who you are by your survey code through there. So we're asking that we do 1 a week for the next 4 weeks if your program goes that long. And then at the end of each week, or when you're done doing one of these sheets for the week, you're going to go ahead and mail that. And in your evaluation packet, there's going to be an envelope with the address for UC Irvine that you mail it to, and the postage is already paid for. So it doesn't, if you guys want to spread it out over a week and maybe do 3rd grade on Monday, 4th grade on Tuesday, however it works best with your program planning, but we want to try and fill in 5 activities for a week. So it doesn't matter if you're doing it all in one day or across the week, but we'd like to have each site do 1 a week for the next 4 weeks. So there should be 4 that are mailed to UCI by the time you're done with program. And then just to show you, but you'll read it when you get it, this is the instructions for the activity form. You'll see here it says staff code. Be sure to write it in the designated box on the right. That's that box that's missing, so just make sure you write it somewhere in the top right. So it's a column for each activity like you just saw. You have a pre-addressed envelope, and you'll send that at the end of each week to UCI. And this is just reviewing what's going to be in the column. So they list this email and phone number for questions. If you want a quicker response, I would go through me or Roy, and I actually highly recommend that because we will be able to get to you a little bit quicker, and we're also more familiar with the programs. So if there's any questions along the way, you have our contact information, and we'll be in touch reminding you of these things as we go. Okay. So any questions on the activity documentation forms? And again, it can be, you can have your program leaders do it, but your staff code as a site coordinator has to be in that top corner. The program leaders are not going to be taking the staff survey, and they won't have a code. So just make sure that the site coordinator code is in the top corner, and the program leaders can do the observations if you want to do it that way. You just got to make sure you explain it to them and review the directions. Totally understand it's the end of the year, so programs might be a little bit jumbled with testing and everything, so we appreciate your willingness to do this. If you have a feeling that you're not going to be doing enough activities to document that, we can have a discussion outside of the webinar. Otherwise, if you could just knock it out within 1 day across different grades, or however you see best at your site, will work for this. And the packets will have everything you need in it, and envelopes in it to mail it. Yeah, and the pre-address with postage and everything. And those will be to you by early next week. I would say Tuesday at the latest, hopefully Friday or Monday. Okay, any questions? Okay, so this is the due dates we got to abide by. So the online surveys, you essentially have 2 full weeks to do that. They should be in by Friday, May 31st. So that means all of next week, and then the week after that. Keep in mind Monday is Memorial Day of that week. So it's totally a tight timeline. We apologize for that. It was a big approval process with UCI. And then the observation forms, mid-June, Friday, June 14th, that provides 4 full weeks to do 1 form per week, and then again mail those at the end of that week. So don't wait till the end and send them all. They want them in the time that you took them. Any questions? Okay, well, I think most of you have my information or Roy's information. Like I mentioned, I'll be in constant contact with UC Irvine about this, and Roy and I will work together to send reminders and any advice or support that we can provide along the way. We definitely appreciate your time in joining us today. This will be recorded and sent out as a follow-up. Open it up for any more questions, clarification, complaints, whatever you want to do. Okay, so Jessica, you're asking that you saying you've been documenting the activities for the past couple of months. Should we include these? So have you been using these forms? If you have, if on those forms you can document, you can answer the same questions with accuracy, you can definitely fill some out and send it in. I'm sure that they would appreciate that. So if you could do that, you can go ahead and transfer those over. And then if you want to do a couple more, that would be great. And then you can include them in the envelope. I'll go ahead and clarify with UCI. I'll send them a question today about that, just to make sure. And then if I'm wrong in what I just told you, I'll let you know individually. Okay. And what site are you at, Jessica? Evans in Garden Grove. Okay, great. Okay, Jessica, I will definitely be following up with you on that. If you don't hear from me, then you can go ahead and transfer information onto those forms. Okay, I'm just going to go in line. So, Doug, yes, we will send the slideshow to everyone, including the video recording of it. And then I have a question from Ontario. If your last week of school is next Tuesday, so school gets out next Tuesday, that pretty much doesn't give you any time to do it because that's when people might be even getting the materials. So I would think it just doesn't make much sense for you to be involved in the study. I hope that's not the case for a lot of people. So again, I'll ask that as well to UCI, but I don't see why they would want anything done. Any other questions? I think that could be it. Sean, do you have a question? I notice your virtual hand is raised. No, there's no photos necessary for this. No, they're not requiring any of that, so I wouldn't, if you're going to, okay, Sean doesn't have a question. Okay, yeah, no photos are required for this UC Irvine evaluation, but that's a good question. Thank you. Okay. Angie, if you wanted to do photos just to be documenting your program for your own benefit or to share with other people, Roy can actually work with you on that and setting up some online portal for all of that and sharing those. So if you want to follow up with Roy, if that's something you want to do just on your own, more than happy to help. We have, we need your addresses. We have all the addresses for your sites. We're thinking we're going to have them actually just delivered instead of mailed. I'd hate to have it get lost in the front office. So they will somehow get to your sites Tuesday at the absolute latest. Any other questions? Sure. Angie, I'll send you a follow-up email to get that information to verify the address. Okay. Okay, so if any questions or clarification is needed along the way, please don't hesitate to call or send an email. Like I mentioned, I'll probably be sending Roy or myself will be sending just regular reminder emails or any support you need along the way. But you can expect that at least weekly from us, and we are here to help if you need anything. So thank you everybody for joining us, and we will talk soon. Good luck with the process.